You strong.
A loud shriek can be heard from the armory. The others ask what the problem is, and the female staff points to where the huge mana stone was. She claims that it must have been stolen the night before. The others only sigh, saying the mana stone has already found its rightful owner. I'm guessing Myung-woo can finally touch and work on that huge S-grade mana stone. In a different location, a badass-looking trident releases an aura, while all sparkly. Yerim is holding on to this trident as she floats in the air with drones around her. She comments on how fancy the weapon is, since it is an S-grade weapon. She announces into the microphone she is wearing that. She is now starting the first field test for the Parmenides Frosted Trident, created by Myung-woo. Yerim chooses the lake as the target and infuses her ice power into the weapon. She blasts it into the lake, causing a big explosion of ice. Her attack crystallized the lake into ice, and she felt good for freezing the entire lake like a thorn bush. Suddenly the ice cracks, and Yerim's eyes widen as she sees the whole thorny bush of ice grow taller. Yerim is amazed that her skills can improve the weapon. The perfect example of an OP character getting OP equipment. At a conference, Shimyeon introduced the S-grade weapon that Myung-woo made as the 16th S-rank weapon in the country. He makes sure to tell everyone that this was created by a person and not something found in a dungeon. Lights flash and cameras keep recording as history is being made right then. An appraiser confirms in front of everyone that the weapon is indeed an S-rank, and the KHA certifies that Myung-woo is the craftsman. Oh, it is the same appraiser who tried to appraise Yoojin back then. The conference proceeds to the next part of the program, where reporters can ask questions. A reporter asks what the highest rank that Myung-woo can create is. Looking dashing in his red suit, Myung-woo smiles and answers that there's no absolute limit to what he can make, but admits that an SS-grade item would still require some practice. Myung-woo truly evolved this time. Everyone murmurs at this revelation, but Yoojin just smiles at how Myung-woo is now in the spotlight. Sunghin, who was sitting beside Yoojin, was amazed by everything. As he looks around, he starts to worry, thinking that they also need to assign security for Myung-woo. Yoojin only laughs at this and tells Sunghin to relax, since Myung-woo can handle his own safety now. Sunghin looks closely and agrees that Myung-woo does look fitter now. Yoojin lets Sunghin know that aside from getting a new skill, Myung-woo's stats had increased up to C rank because of his hard work. Sunghin found it incredulous and said he had never heard about something like that happening before. Myung-woo didn't remain F rank like Yoojin did. His body probably really needs it if he has to create SS grade items. Yoojin just keeps on smiling, saying that Myung-woo is really one of a kind. We've got another flashback, people. Several hours ago, inside the Heian dorms, Yoojin was so shocked to find that Myung-woo forged a weapon as soon as he unlocked his skill. Myung-woo scratches his head while holding on to the said weapon and admits there are materials in his inventory that he thought would create synergy with the mana stone. Myung-woo licks his hand and with a flash, he shows the materials to Yoojin. Yoojin gets so big-eyed for seeing numerous rare items floating in the air, and most of these items are things he had never seen before. Myung-woo proceeds to explain how his new inventory carries not only S-grade materials, but also SS-grade. With all those items, I think he does need security. Yoojin's eyes bulge out as Myung-woo explains that the inventory of materials came with a skill. Myung-woo tells Yoojin how he used the frostwood material with the mana stone to create the trident. The skill also comes with an extensive manual filled with detailed instructions on creating various items. Yoojin is so flabbergasted that many things came with the skill that Myung-woo unlocked. Comparing it to his L-rank skills, it feels like he was mistreated. He starts cursing the guys who run the system as he wallows in despair. Myung-woo asks Yoojin if he wants to tour his smithy, which piques Yoojin's interest. Myung-woo explains how the golden smithy is not just a name as he uses this skill in front of Yoojin. A golden door of light appears and the face of the door is filled with symbols and foreign characters. What the? Just imagine, the skill has a smithy, a manual, and materials. His skill is more of an L rank than an SS rank. Myung-woo smiles at Yoojin and reaches out a hand, saying he can invite others into the golden smithy. Yoojin holds on to Myung-woo's hand while commenting on how this gives the extra security Myung-woo needs to keep himself from getting kidnapped. Yoojin thinks Myung-woo is like the protagonist of a movie or a novel as they go inside the smithy. Yoojin was at first blinded by the light. Still, he was awestruck by the high ceilings, simple grandeur, and details in every corner. That's a great hideout. Yoojin checks the burning fire of the smithy. wondering how it continuously burns without fuel. Myung-woo was about to answer when the fire suddenly flared up and got even more enormous than Yoojin. Yoojin was so shocked that he thought it was a monster. He quickly pulls Myung-woo behind him as he gets away from the fire, still shaken by what happened. Myung-woo smiles, knowing that Yoojin will remain protective of him. He tries to calm Yoojin down, saying that he's now sturdier, so there's no need to worry. He then explains that what's before them is a fire elemental. The fire elemental greets his master and tells Yoojin that he is the elemental called Ismuor. Yoojin realizes that elemental also exists, then thinks how the same goes for Dakebis. Myung-woo shares how Ismuor helped him forge the weapon. The whole thing was set up by Ismuor's previous master, to help the successor of the Golden Smithy learn the basics. It also has an elemental. Yoojin, I think it's time you give up your MC position. Yoojin looks back at Myung-woo and asks if a hunter had previously owned the smithy. Myung-woo is unsure, but he says he received a bouquet and a card. Yoojin looks at the items in Myung-woo's hands and asks if Myung-woo can read the unknown symbol written on them. Myung-woo says he somehow can and does the translation for Yoojin. The card bears a simple greeting from the previous master to the successor of the smithy with wishes of blessings of fire and molten metal. He also can read alien language now. Just how much do they want to buff Myung-woo? Yoojin thinks about everything he'd known so far about dungeons. He thinks about how there were findings of ruins of civilization before. He wonders if the previous master of the Golden Smithy before Myung-woo came from another world. Based on the card, the smithy was purposely left for a progeny. Yoojin ponders how the system ties up to this, but Myung-woo pulls Yoojin from his thoughts by giving him the flowers he received. Myung-woo claims that he owes everything to Yoojin. Hence, he wants Yoojin to decide what Myung-woo should do now. Whatever Yoojin chooses, whether it'll be freelancing or staying at the Haeyeon Guild, he'll do it. Wow, such loyalty. But it also makes sense. If Yoojin didn't latch on to him, Myung-woo would probably be dead already. Yoojin looks at the flower while deep inside, he's celebrating how everything went according to his plan. With Dr. White and Myung-woo by his side, he's now set for life. But despite this, Yoojin feels that it is not right, so instead of saying where Myung-woo should go now, he tells Myung-woo that he doesn't have to do that. Myung-woo looks blankly at Yoojin. Yoojin avoids eye contact and starts scratching his head. He says that Myung-woo doesn't really have to follow him around, and that there is something that he wants to admit to Myung-woo. Our MC is having character development right now. Yoojin tries to muster up all his courage, but he can still not look Myung-woo in the eyes. He finally admits how he never really knew Myung-woo before. He makes up a story of how he must have been so confused that day because the truth is that they'd never met before that day. Myung-woo starts to say that he already knows. Still, Yoojin cuts him off, saying that Myung-woo must be upset for getting dragged around by Yoojin. Yoojin tells Myung-woo to do as he pleases without worrying about Yoojin. But at the same time, Yoojin berates himself for he hesitates to relinquish this golden ticket. Still, when he looks at Myung-woo, he is so glad that the guy can finally stand alone. Myung-woo finally got the growth he needed. Yoojin recalls the time Yoon left him, while thinking that letting go of Myung-woo is what he must do after lying all that time. Myung-woo looks at Yoojin and remembers how Yoojin said that Myung-woo's skill makes him more influential than the largest guilds in the country. Myung-woo makes up his mind, mumbling how he already knows what he wants to do. Myung-woo still gives the flowers to Yoojin, saying the flowers might only burn if it stays in the smithy. Myung-woo smiles at Yoojin and with resolve, he says that he will be doing the things that he wants to do this time. He will do just as Yoojin told him, to do whatever he wants, without worrying about Yoojin. And now we're back to the present, where they present the trident Myung-woo made. Myung-woo holds onto the Parmenes Frostwood trident as Yerim walks toward him. Shimyeon announces that Myung-woo bestows the weapon to Yerim Park of the Haeyeon Guild. Shimyeon explains that Myung-woo is giving his first S-grade creation to one of the hunters of Haeyeon Guild because of the extensive support he received from them. In the audience, Yoojin has a bad look as he remembers how he decided to relinquish his golden ticket. Our MC still needs some growing. He tries to look the bright side, thinking that with Myung-woo the spotlight will not be on him, and he'll get to relax. Yerim looks so happy on the stage as she raises the trident for everyone to see. Then Shimyeon announces that there will be remarks from the two. Yoojin says he's proud and that Myung-woo will now be fine on his own. Sungin looks at Yoojin at this and asks if Myung-woo will stop staying with Yoojin now. Yoojin says Myung-woo will be welcomed wherever he wishes to go. With skills like his, he will definitely be getting offers from everyone. Yoojin says that Myung-woo has no reason to stay with him. While they are friends, they really haven't known each other for a long time. Seeing how Yoojin was acting, Sunghyun was worried about how Yoojin seemed unaware of his value. Sunghyun was about to tell him this, but Yoojin was busy slurping his drink, and Yerim started talking on stage. Yoojin can be an airhead sometimes. Yerim smiles and formally thanks Myung-woo for the perfect weapon she just received. Then, out of nowhere, she also thanks Yoojin while she's on the stage. Hearing this made Yoojin spill his drink right in his face and ask why they were talking about him. Yerim passes the mic to Myung-woo, and Myung-woo agrees with Yerim, saying that it is all thanks to Yoojin. Myung-woo tells everyone that aside from the support he got from Hae and Guild, he also owes a lot to Yoojin Han. Everyone in the venue starts murmuring, turning their head to look at Yoojin. Yoojin crouches and tries to hide from everyone. Sunghyun looks fondly at Yoojin, as he thinks about how Yoojin means a lot to everyone more than he really knows. Yoojin is all red as he tries to hide. At this stage, Myung-woo thinks everyone in the world should know better before messing with Yoojin. At the same time, Yerim whispers to Myung-woo for doing a good job. Oh, so they did do that for Yoojin's protection. Everyone close to Yoojin knows that if they were given a choice to leave or stay with him, they would undoubtedly choose to stay and fight for him. Because even without blood relations, they see Yoojin as their family. After the conference, Yoojin thinks about how the days were uneventful and how safe he is with the reinforced security. Myung-woo is always in his smithy, yet the guy never forgets to cook for Yoojin. He stays true to his words, but there's one problem. Peace is so out of it that the magic beast doesn't even want to exercise. Yoojin carries Peace in his arms and thinks that Peace must still be having the after effects of getting kidnapped before. Yoojin brings Peace out, saying they'll be playing fetch. If Yoojin didn't have the skills he has, he would also feel traumatized by what happened. A blonde woman standing by the door greets Yoojin and says she'll escort them if they are going to the training room. Yoojin looks at the woman and identifies her as Hunter Soyeon Kang from the Sejong Guild. She is a 19-year-old A-ranker hunter personally recruited by Hyunjae from the United Kingdom. And based on what Yoojin remembers of his past life, Soyeon is his future sister-in-law. Soyeon looks fondly at Peace, then gets on with her job. She leads Yoojin and Peace to the elevator. At the same time, Yoojin imagines how Soyeon will lead his brother to the altar in the future. Soyeon says she was worried when she heard Yoojin's abduction and was really happy when Yoojin was saved. She believes that Yoojin is her last hope. Yoojin was confused by this. Soyeon motions to keep it a secret, revealing that she has an SS rank mounting skill called Dragon Rider. And we have another character with an SS rank skill. Just how OP is her skill? Yoojin was amazed by this and thought dragons were the most difficult monsters to tame. Riding one is next to impossible, but if Soyeon gets a dragon for a mount, she'll be amazing in dungeon raids. But I think Yoojin can ride a dragon, even without that skill, though not as expertly as Soyeon would. Soyeon reveals her frustration since she can't use the skill now. Hence she's relying on Yoojin's skill to tame a dragon for her. She also reveals how Sejong Guild sometimes finds dragon nests in the dungeons they look over. If they get to hatch one, she'll finally get a dragon for herself. Soyeon dreamily imagines how wonderful it'll be once she has her own baby dragon and plans to raise it like her own child. Yoojin smiles at this, thinking his younger brother's girlfriend is so lovely. Yoojin looks at her, completely smitten, but Peace still feels bored even though he is in Yoojin's arms. As they get out of the elevator, Soyeon says she'll make sure to keep Yoojin safe since he has to be her breeding partner. This statement shocks Yoojin that he plops down onto the elevator floor. Feeling weak, Yoojin stammers as he asks if she really has to phrase it that way. Good thing our Peace didn't fall to the ground. Soyeon looks back at Yoojin, saying that that's how everyone is phrasing it. She explains that it became a catchphrase after the Breaker Guild's guildmaster mentioned it in a TV show. Yoojin curses Hyuna for causing this problem. They got into the training room, but Peace still felt down. Yoojin tries to motivate Peace but to no avail. Dissatisfied, Peace grumbles and makes a fuss by clinging to Yoojin's clothes with his claws. Soyeon looks at Peace, thinking that the magic beast must have been really traumatized by the kidnapping. Yoojin decides to stand up and move his body around to somehow make Peace let go and consider doing some exercise that will make him feel better. Soyeon looks at the two and simply thinks they are somehow enjoying themselves. That is one way of exercise. Yoojin sadly comments how nice it would be if they could go out and enjoy some time outside, but this isn't possible, since Peace is a magic beast and not exactly a pet. Soyoung hears this and gets an idea. She suggests taking Yoojin to a perfect spot to let them get some fresh air. Yoojin was shocked that such a place existed, then Soyoung said that the ideal site was in their guild's rooftop garden. She takes out her phone and calls her guild to get permission. Yoojin is surprised at this and tries to stop Soyoung, but she's already contacted her guild. In Sejong Guild, a man smiles as he says he will send a car to pick them up. The blonde man is spending his leisure time looking at his humongous aquarium. He says he is welcome anytime in their guild. He continues to speak on the phone, saying they must get ready to welcome him. Of course, the guy is Hyunjae, and he is referring to our MC. A vast garden with fantastic architecture and multiple pathways can be seen afar. The garden is so huge and filled with many trees that it is hard to believe that you can still call such a place a garden. Yoojin looks at the place with amazement, commenting how he never thought there would be a rooftop garden in Sejong Guild. Peace is in Yoojin's arms and was busy looking around, since the place is entirely new for a magic beast like him. Soyeon assures Yoojin that he'll get some privacy, since they accept restricted access to the garden. Our MC is getting special treatment. Peace finally jumps off Yoojin's arms and starts walking a bit. Yoojin is glad that Peace is finally feeling brighter, and he assures Peace that he is safe there, since even the lady with them is really nice. Soyoung hears this and gets close to Yoojin. To reassure Peace that she's a friend, she even kisses Yoojin on the cheek, making the guy blush. New route. Wait, isn't she supposed to be Yoon's girlfriend in the future? Yoojin was so shocked that his future sister-in-law kissed him on the cheek, but Soyoung was more focused on reassuring Peace that she didn't realize Yoojin's panic. Yoojin thinks it over and guesses it's not a big deal, but he's still worried that it might make a mess in the future. Yoojin should stop overthinking, since it seems that Soyoung's really more interested in Peace. Peace continues to look around and softly growls as he starts to wander and explore. Soyoung was happy that Peace understood her. Out of nowhere, Peace suddenly leaps and dashes away, creating mayhem in the process. Soyoung is so delighted that Peace is finally feeling better. At the same time, Yoojin can only cry as he apologizes for the destruction. Soyoung smiles widely and assures Yoojin that it's okay. She just hopes that Peace will be the playmate for her future dragon. Yoojin got curious and asks Soyoung what kind of dragon they were trying to hatch. Soyoung happily answers that it is a tier 3 flying dragon. She is proud that she'll be having a thorn-winged dark dragon. Yoojin thinks about how this type is the most durable among flying-type dragons. Aside from its dark, sturdy scales, it is also filled with thorns in its wings and tail. From just imagining the dragon, Soyoung is already blushing with glee, claiming that the dragon is such an adorable creature. Yoojin is shocked by Soyoung's description, but the girl continues to gush at how its tail is poisoned with big expectant eyes. Hearing this just confirms that Soyoung has an odd taste. If she has a strange taste, does that make Yoonyeon also bizarre? Soyoung smiles and invites Yoojin to visit the rooftop garden often, so they can have a change of pace. Yoojin smiles and agrees as he thinks it has been so long, since he genuinely enjoyed a simple walk like the one he is having right now. And this applies even before he turned back time. Thinking that he can't go outside, visiting the Sejong Guild's rooftop garden might be the perfect place for him to wind down. Peace returns to them with some flowers in his mouth and purrs. Yoojin pets Peace, as he thanks the magic beast for the flowers. Yoojin is a bit worried that if he frequents the Sejong Guild, he might meet Hyunjae, but he rationalizes that it is unlikely that the guild master would just show up. Sadly, Yoojin's weakling's hunch notifies him of the approaching S-ranker. Those S-rankers won't leave you alone. Soyoung looked behind them and was shocked to see their guild master. Yoojin's eyes sadly leer as he hears Hyunjae say that it is only natural for him to come out and greet their valuable guest. Wearing casual clothes, Hyunjae smiles at them, completely different from how Yoojin views the guild master of the top guild of their country. With Hyunjae's influence beyond the country, he was known to be number 1 even in hunter rankings until he disappeared once he left Korea. That man, viewed as the strongest hunter in the world, is now sitting in front of Yoojin, and there are tea and layers of confection between the two of them. Is this the reason why the title of the chapter is Garden Date? Soyoung has left the two men, which simply made Yoojin speechless. He had never thought there would be a day that Hyunjae Sung, the strongest hunter, would pour tea for someone like him. Hyunjae reminds Yoojin to be careful in sipping since the tea is hot. Yoojin heeds the advice as he thinks how Hyunjae looks so natural at doing this. It makes Yoojin just wonder if he's still in the right genre. Why do the flowery panels appear when there are guys, but when he receives a kiss from Soyeon, it only has a cute background? Just why? Hyunjae lifts a hand and says he has a treat for Yoojin's horn-flame lion. A bone appears in Hyunjae's hand. He says that it is a dragon's wing bone. He puts the bone in front of Peace, making him sniff. Peace sadly can't contain his excitement and start purring, licking, and playing with the bone. Finding Peace so happy made Yoojin smile, making him think that Hyunjae was nice. Yoojin takes a bite of a madeleine and is struck by its deliciousness. He is sure that Myung-woo is a better cook, but the sweets before him are just as tasty. What? Is Hyunjae using the method called a way to a man's heart is through his stomach? Yoojin happily eats, while Hyunjae smiles and says he's glad that Yoojin is now better after what happened. Yoojin smiles back and conveys his appreciation for Hyunjae, taking the time to personally greet him. Hyunjae continues to smile as he says that it is the least he could do for his future breeding partner. Yoojin ignores the jab and simply curses Hyuna deep in his heart for making such a trend. Hearing it from Hyunjae makes it sound weirder. I can't imagine Yoon saying those exact words. The vibe of their conversation suddenly changes as Hyunjae says he means what he said. Yoojin's status as a magic beast tamer, his custody of S-ranker Yerim Park, and the recent announcement of the only blacksmith prove Yoojin is one of a kind. Hyunjae says every other guild, aside from NKC, wishes to get closer or at least speak to Yoojin. If Yoojin wishes it, everyone will do their best to make it happen for Yoojin. Hyunjae invites Yoojin to try it out, but Yoojin says no. With what Hyunjae showed, Yoojin changes his perception of Hyunjae, thinking that the guy is actually despicable. Yep, he's bad news. It's no doubt he is jerkwat #1 from Hyuna's phone. Yoojin says he should still be careful, since he's only an F-ranker. Hyunjae says it is an easy fix with a top-tier magic beast by Yoojin's side. He then reveals that the guilds are discussing assigning a second top-tier monster for Yoojin's security. Yoojin was shocked to hear this, and Hyunjae was surprised that Yoon hasn't told this to Yoojin yet. Hyunjae continues to explain how MKC will cover the cost because of the recent incident. Hyunjae tries to poke at Yoojin and Yoon's relationship, saying how Yoon is too overprotective, to the point he keeps such information from his brother. But Hyunjae pauses and shows a worried expression, saying he might sound like Hyuna right now. This guy is a better actor than Yoojin. Yoojin looks down and says it's fine as he thinks about how his brother does keep information from him and how Yoon tends to give him a generic answer. It makes Yoojin wonder, if he did get his skill before rewinding the time, would he be living out his days confined in the guild, ignorant of the things around him? Hyunjae reminds Yoojin that he is influential enough to build his own guild, or Yoojin can even choose to create an army of magic beasts. Yoojin is astounded by Hyunjae's suggestions and says he can't be allowed to own many of them. Still, Hyunjae assures Yoojin that that wouldn't last, since the law only exists if the country and society choose to uphold it. Hyunjae makes a good point. Hyunjae explains that many things will change once the difficulty and number of dungeons increase. He predicts that everyone will be determined to survive by whatever means necessary 5 years from now. With the existence of mounts and tameable monsters, Yoojin will be someone important, more than he is right now. With Yoojin's abilities, Hyunjae says it's no wonder Yoon is protecting him. He advises Yoojin to have a proper conversation with his brother about this. Yoojin looks at Hyunjae as he drinks his tea, thinking that the guy before him is testing him and not praising him. You have every right to be suspicious about him, Yoojin. But wouldn't it be easier if the MC also got this guy under his influence? Back in Haeyeon Guild, Yoon asks Yerim what she is saying about his older brother. Yerim reveals her doubts. She explains how she used White Corpse to read the memories of the men from the Bricks Guild. She found the memory where Yoojin didn't immediately get knocked out and how his kidnappers thought that Yoojin might have debuff-canceling equipment on him. Yerim says that she knows that the guild never issued that kind of item to Yoojin, and finally says that Yoon's brother is most probably hiding something. It is natural to be suspicious, but suppose we based it on Yoon's personality. In that case, Lil Bro will simply let it go as long as Big Bro's secrets can help protect himself. Yoojin was informed that he will at least have an A-ranker for a bodyguard when he goes back to Haeyeon Guild, and now he is in the car with Peace feeling sullen that it's actually Hyunjae who will escort him. Yoojin wonders if the seasoned guildmaster has nothing else better to do, and he even received a bouquet from the guy. Yoojin looks at the man in question and announces that Hyunjae won't be able to persuade him no matter what he does. Sadly, Hyunjae reaches out for Yoojin. Yoojin was shocked, but Hyunjae simply buckled the seatbelt for Yoojin. Seriously, isn't this something you see in rom-com dramas? First the garden date, then feeding peace, giving a bouquet, then sending Yoojin back himself. Are we supposed to look forward to a goodbye kiss next? I'm starting to question the genre of this manhwa. Yoojin has a worried look, while Peace glares at Hyunjae. Hyunjae smiles at Yoojin and says he's only trying to make up for failing to assist Yoojin back when he got kidnapped. Yoojin can only laugh. Delvey still got scared for a bit there. Peace continues to glare at Hyunjae and starts growling softly at the man. Good job, Peace. Make sure to protect Yoojin. Hyunjae says he got to spend time with Yoojin because of what happened with MKC. Aside from the incident, it showed how low MKC guilt has become, letting everyone know it will be gone soon enough. Yoojin was lost in his thoughts, thinking about how MKC had fallen sooner than before. Thinking about going back in time, Yoojin thinks about how little information he has about Hyunjae. There is no factual information about him aside from being the guild master of Season, and the rest are mostly rumors. The guy is a complete enigma. Yoojin ponders if he should use his skill to take a peek at Hyunjae. It would be a good opportunity, since he thinks the guild master wouldn't mind. Yoojin decides to go with it and pretends to look out the window on Hyunjae's side. He tells himself that it will only be a peek and nothing extensive. Yoojin is thinking of activating the skill promising Sprout. He tells himself he won't even turn his head, which will be a quick look. But before Yoojin even changes the direction of his eyes, Hyunjae's hand is already on Yoojin's neck. This shocks Yoojin so much that he drops the bouquet to the floor. Damn, that's cold. Yoojin's face is dark, thinking he is about to die as he holds onto Peace. The system notifies him that it detected an overwhelming presence and activated fear resistance. Yoojin's face is pale as he thinks how Hyunjae just has to squeeze, and he will soon meet his end. Yoojin cursed, thinking how Hyunjae even noticed it, when he hadn't even used the skill yet. Peace realized something was wrong, and he started to get angry and growled at Hyunjae. Yoojin looks at Hyunjae and says he's supposed to be his bodyguard, but now he seems to be following MKC's steps. Hyunjae smiles at this and finally lets go of Yoojin's neck. Hyunjae pats Yoojin in the back, claiming that he doesn't know what Yoojin is saying, since nothing really happened between them. Yoojin was speechless, but Peace continued to growl at Hyunjae, ready to attack at any moment. Yoojin can only curse Hyunjae in his head for what almost happened. In front of Haeyeon Guild, Shimyeong and Sunhan are waiting for their arrival. Hyunjae gets out of the car and greets them. Hyunjae gets around the car and opens the door for Yoojin. Yoojin immediately dashes out of the vehicle with Peace in one arm. He heads straight behind Sungan. Hyunjae smiled at this, commenting on how quick he was. Hyunjae takes the bouquet that Yoojin dropped on the floor and says that Yoojin forgot. Shimyeong steps toward Hyunjae and asks why the man was there, saying he can't just show up without prior notice. Hyunjae simply smiles, saying that his staff must have already told them how Yoojin will be escorted back with at least an A ranker. Shimyeong was vexed at Hyunjae's answer. Shimyeong remains formal, but reminds Hyunjae that hunter guilds are similar to armies. Having other S-rankers visit another guild can create conflicts. Yoojin was shocked to hear this and wondered why Hyunjae gave him a ride if it started problems. Yoojin sadly gasps as he realizes it is exactly Hyunjae's plan to irritate the Haeyeon Guild. It is no wonder why many people wouldn't like this guy. Hyunjae continues to smile and takes a flower from the bouquet. He says that Shimyeong shouldn't be stiff. He reassures them Yoojin's safety as he puts the flower in Shimyeong's suit. Shimyeong was so irked by Hyunjae's words and actions that he could only tremble in irritation. Hyunjae gives the bouquet to Yoojin and says he has something else for him besides the flowers. He hands Yoojin a small accessory box. Yoojin opens it, and within it is a pair of red studs. Hyunjae claims it is only a small token of his appreciation. He explains how the studs have mana-boosting buff and B-grade shield skill. Hyunjae makes an excuse that it is also his way of thanking Yoojin for supporting Soyeong in the future. At least it's not a kiss. Yoojin was surprised to receive such a precious item, thinking it was a rare find with its effects. Hyunjae comments that he noticed Yoojin isn't wearing studs and figured that Yoojin must have lost them when he was abducted. Yoojin's face pales at this, wondering when Hyunjae even had time to notice those kinds of things. Hyunjae would make one attentive boyfriend, but not for Yoojin. Yoojin starts saying that he's unsure if he can accept those. but Hyunjae assures him that those are the best gifts. Hyunjae smiles warmly at Yoojin, hoping this is the start of their long and lovely relationship. Sure, as long as you don't try killing him again. Inside the Haeyeon dormitory, Yoojin is trying out the red studs he got from Hyunjae. Yoojin calls for Peace and tells him to do a rocket launch. Upon hearing this, Peace happily dashes and quickly leaps toward Yoojin. But before Peace even reaches Yoojin, he collides with the shield with a heavy sound. Peace falls to Yoojin's arms, confused about what happened. He was glad to know that the shield's skill did work. Poor Peace. Now that Yoojin is holding Peace, he sniffs at the magic beast and realizes that Peace is smelly. He immediately brings the horned flame lion to the bathroom and gives his much-needed bath. Peace looks forlorn, but he stays put for Yoojin. He was glad that the trip made Peace happy, and Yoojin even received a gift from Hyunjae. Yoojin thinks it was a good trip overall, but seeing Shimyeong throw a fit makes him rethink another visit. Here's a short flashback. Shimyeong mentioned how the entire block might end in flames if Yoon saw Hyunjae. Yoojin was skeptical, but Shimyeong said that Yoon was once arrested for visiting another guild before. Yoojin was shocked, since he didn't know that something like this had happened. You're pretty much unaware of many things, even before you turn back time. Back to the present. Yoojin wonders what other problems his brother has caused. Thinking about his quest to influence 50 S-rankers, he'll have massive trouble if they are like his brother. If it is possible, he wants to beat up those who are running the system. Yoojin was so lost in thought that he didn't realize that Peace had gotten out of the bath. Peace flutters, spreading water all over, and leaps away from Yoojin. Yoojin tries to stop Peace and snatches him, saying he's not yet done. Peace did last longer than most cats would. Yoojin suddenly stops, realizing he is holding a doll instead of Peace. Yoojin looks at Peace, who is dripping wet on the floor, and asks if Peace learned a cloning skill or something. Suddenly, a voice says that the doll is actually his gift. The voice belongs to Yoon, and he greets his boss. Still holding on to the doll, Yoojin asks if Yoon got the doll from Japan. Yoon says he did and even shows a bigger horned flame lion plushie to Yoojin. Yoon says the country has a lot of merch of this kind, but it is not meant to be Peace. Yoon shows off the other merch he got from Japan, like the headband, backpack, and different sizes of dolls. Yoon shares how the show with Peace went viral worldwide, as Yoon puts the headband on Yoojin's head. Yoojin wipes Peace, saying he wasn't aware of the current craze. Wow, there's a lot of merch. Japan got ahead of Yoojin in producing Peace-related merch. Getting to business, Yoojin asks how was the task he gave Yoon. Yoon gives the tablet to Yoojin to check his work. Yoon looks at the piece closely, while Yoojin checks the tablet that now has a horned flame lion sticker on the back. Yoojin was glad that Yoon did his work collecting data. Still, he notices how the information about the dungeon interior was left blank. Yoon explains that he can't enter dungeons. He doesn't know why, but he somehow bounces back outside whenever he tries to. Yoojin wonders if it is because Yoon has similar abilities to the dungeons. So how does Yoon level up? Does he only rely on defeating monsters from dungeon breaks? This gives Yoojin an idea, and he puts the tablet down. Yoon was trying to cheer Peace using a plushie, but he's not having much success. Yoojin spreads his arms out and calls Yoon. Yoon looks back, and he is sadly hugged by Yoojin. Yoon is so shocked, but Yoojin doesn't let him go, saying it's him showing affection. Peace ignores the two and starts taking an interest in the plushie instead. Yoon tries to pull away from his boss, but Yoojin keeps clinging. Yoon was about to mention who he would rather hug, but he didn't finish his sentence. Yoojin tells Yoon to teleport with him in his arms. That seems like a good idea. Yoon is confused, but Yoojin uses the boss card and says he won't let go of Yoon until he teleports. Left with no choice, Yoon says he'll try, but it will only be for a short while. They suddenly flash, leaving Peace and Yoojin's new headband behind. Yoon is holding Yoojin in his arms, and they are above the cityscape. Yoojin is amazed, thinking that teleporting is similar to entering and leaving dungeon gates. Yoon continues to teleport short distances, and Yoojin continues to observe how similar it is to dungeons. Yoon teleports some more, and they almost crash into a car. Yoojin apologizes, and they immediately teleport elsewhere. Yoojin looks at the system as they teleport, and the stats window changes its appearance. Oh, so that is what he's aiming for. Yoojin wonders if he can communicate with the system while they teleport. Yoojin tells Yoon to keep teleporting some more, but Yoon seems to have other ideas. He grabs onto Yoojin's pants. Yoon starts to sweat and says that holding on to Yoojin that way makes him want to throw him down. Yoon throws Yoojin like a pro wrestler, and Yoon immediately floats away and apologizes to Yoojin. Still lying on the floor, Yoojin remembers that the Dakebis have a terrible habit of wrestling the people based on folklore. Yoon was worried that he hurt Yoojin, remembering that his boss is a fragile F-ranker. You're learning well, Yoon. Yoojin rubs his sore back, thankful that he has a shield skill. He just hoped the system sent him a message from all those teleporting. Yoojin opens his status window and finds a message saying that the skill my kid is the best is in effect with peace. Under it is a tip from the system, and at the same time, there is a hidden message telling Yoojin to go to the dungeon. That seems like a high command from the system. Yoojin looks at the message closely and wonders if the system has gone through hoops just to converse with Yoojin. Yoojin wonders if they can't send a direct message like before, since he is outside the dungeon. He recalls that the system seems unaware of his location, unless he is inside a dungeon. Yoojin concludes that the system has its limitations. Yoon comes close to Yoojin and is still worried about his boss. He asks if he should get a potion, but Yoojin pats Yoon on the head, reassuring Yoon that he is okay. Yoojin is actually glad that he finally got a message from the system, and Yoon has been a great help in achieving that. Yoojin decides that he needs to go inside a dungeon. Still rubbing his back, he tells Yoon he can go now, and Yoojin will call if he needs him. Yoojin doesn't forget to compliment Yoon and tells him he loves him. Our MC really doesn't miss a chance. This makes Yoon pause, and he sadly recalls Grandma Yoon, who previously owned the watermill. Yoon starts to feel some affection for his boss, and offers to teleport Yoojin back to his place. Yoojin thanks Yoon, as he wonders if his keyword would affected him. Back in his place, Yoojin looks at the text confirmation for winning the bid for an F-rank dungeon. He checks the location and sees that it is actually close by. He decides to wear all black clothes with a hat and sunglasses. He wonders if no one will recognize him, but he knows he will be fine, since he still has Inky's stealth skill. No one might identify you, but you still look suspicious. He wears a mask to finish the look and thinks he'll only have a quick chat with the system and immediately get out. Yoojin looks forward to getting the much-needed explanation from the jerks running the system. I guess we will finally meet them at the next one. In the Heian Guild's hallway, a head covered in a hat, sunglasses, and mask looks out behind a post. Yoojin checks the coast and moves to a new location. He moves beside a plant, crouches by a wall, swishes across, tumbles, pretends to be a part of the wall, skids to the floor, and hides behind a plant. Dude, you look more suspicious with the way you are acting. Confirming that no one's around, Yoojin commences phase 1 of his plan. Yoojin activates the skill Giko on the wall, with double effects because of Final Thanks and Rao Chita's Bane. He checks the elevator with security beside it, knowing it would be suspicious if it moved independently when no one was there. The elevator opens and the lunch lady walks out pushing a food cart. Yoojin quickly makes his move and dashes inside the elevator. Yoojin is confident that he won't be detected even by A rankers. Cool, but what about the S rankers? Wouldn't your little bro and Yurim detect you? Other people were in the elevator, and Yoojin stayed in one corner. He thinks about how Dakibi is the only person with stealth skills, since it is rare for a hunter to have such skills. The elevator reaches the first floor, and Yoojin creeps out with the other people inside. He looks at the security checking the people coming out of the building, thinking it is time for phase 2. Yoojin immediately dashes when he sees the security checking another guy. He slides on the floor, and the handheld detector beeps when Yoojin passes. Yoojin makes the run for it while the guy being checked worries about why the sensor is alarmed when nothing is left in his pockets. And now, our MC is causing problems for other people. Yoojin arrives at the dungeon he bought, tired from running. He looks around as he enters the code for the place, relieved that security for F-rank dungeons is not tight. The door opens, and Yoojin finds the portal just behind it. Yoojin plans to talk quickly with the system and go home immediately. I doubt it will be as easy as our MC hoped. He quickly checks his equipment and items and holds onto the gate stone his brother gave him back then. Resolute with his plans, he intends to keep his previous promise to live a quiet life, but he will do so once everything is taken care of. Yoojin steps into the dungeon and with a flash, he gets transported to a place filled with giant trees. Yoojin walks inside the dungeon, thinking the place is like a jungle. He walks further, wondering where to contact the system, while ignoring the monkey-like monsters watching him. According to the novel, these monkeys are called moss monkeys. Yoojin is irritated at how the system didn't tell him where to contact them. Seeing that Yoojin is busy, the monsters take that chance to dash and attack him. Suddenly, tentacles start slaying the monsters, but Yoojin remains cool since he is more concerned about how he can communicate with the system. Yoojin continues to walk, calling for the system while getting attacked by monsters. He slays them using his tentacles and throws toxic ooze on his enemies. Yoojin yells for the system while standing atop all the monsters he had just slain. Getting no response from the system, Yoojin chooses to collect the F-grade mana stones that the monsters dropped. He wonders if he'll end up clearing the dungeon before getting to talk with the system. Our MC might do just that since his current skills are helpful against this dungeon. Out of nowhere, the system suddenly appears, shocking Yoojin from his activities. He looks at it, relieved that they have found a connection somehow. At the same time, Yoojin is confused with all the symbols that seem to be trying to tell him that it is not his fault. Yoojin scratches his head at this message, but the system elaborates further by bringing out the information about the wish stone. Like he was told, while you can wish anything on the stone, bringing the dead back to life is the exception. Yoojin still doesn't know what to make from this message, so the system deletes the note on the wish stone item. Instead, a sorry message is in symbols with an emoji. Yoojin wonders what the system is sorry about and seriously thinks about it. Yoojin starts to sweat as he finally realizes that the system was lying back then. Feeling like he will go crazy with this revelation, Yoojin shouts as he pulls on his hair. The system has lied to him about being unable to bring back the dead, and Yoojin quickly turns from crazy to angry. He was furious since he already knew. It didn't make sense that one could turn back time, but he couldn't bring back the dead. What? Could he have stayed in his original timeline all this time instead of regressing? Yoojin curses at the system, asking for an explanation, but it shows more emoticons, explaining how their lips are sealed. Yoojin only gets more irritated as he sees the reply and demands the system to just tell him everything without resorting to emojis. Yeah, it's like Yoojin is now playing charades with the system. Irked at how the system acts, Yoojin brings out a gate stone, claiming he can easily escape the dungeon if a high-rank monster pops out. Yoojin is so mad that he demands the system to tell him already. This keeps the system silent for a moment, but it reappears again. Multiple system screens blip open, astounding Yoojin at the sudden pour of messages from the system. The system tries to appease Yoojin, saying they could tell him everything, but doing so would require a sacrifice. They told Yoojin that preparation is vital because the more they intervene, the easier for them to be caught. The messages that started with sentences are now mere phrases. The system tells Yoojin it is dangerous and that they will be able to provide more information in 1 week. Oh, it is not like they don't want to explain things adequately. They just really can't say things straight up since it is dangerous. And since Yoojin has a gate stone, he will be fine if they do this once. Yoojin was worried that he needed to return to a dungeon in 1 week, and by that time, Inky's skills would be gone. He needs to find another way to make it possible somehow. He starts to ponder about the system's words, thinking how there are other beings aside from the system since they are obviously hiding from someone or something. Yoojin recalls how a different monster, besides the dungeon boss, appeared in the dungeon back when the system first communicated with him. If this is the case, with the numerous messages they have sent to intervene, a much more powerful monster will appear. Will it be a dragon this time? Crack. A crack appears in the air, making it seem like the air is made of glass. It gets bigger, and Yoojin is surprised by what is happening before him. And with no time to get away, the whole thing shatters in front of him. The messages from the system become woozy and blur a bit. Yoojin cursed as he looked at the shattered space before him. He wonders if the messages were too much, and if it had somehow summoned a monster worse than he had encountered. I wonder if Yoojin can get another wish stone if he slays another strong monster single-handedly. A large flash of light appears in front of Yoojin, and he raises his arm as he moves back. With what he just experienced, Yoojin wonders if the monster appearing would be more dangerous than Rauchita's. The light slowly disappears, and Yoojin brings his arm down. He was surprised that there was only a lump of a cotton ball from where the light had faded. Yoojin looks at it with sweat and confusion, thinking if that thing is even a monster. The ball of fluff suddenly rolls and makes a sound. The little ball looks like a chick, and Yoojin found it cute. What? This is the monster? Really? Yoojin has remained vigilant since that resulted from his conversation with the system. He holds on to 2 big leaves, trying to hide among the vegetation. You've got a poor hiding sense. Yoojin. The chick skips around with its tiny feet as Yoojin uses promising sprout on the monster. Most of the data is blurred. and the only thing he can make out of it is that the beast is still an infant with a current rank of F. Yoojin is surprised that the monster is only an F rank, since he is pretty sure it is no ordinary monster. He wonders if he should slay the beast, but hesitates since it is only an infant. The little guy is innocent at that moment, but it feels like it will be bad news in the future. Yoojin suddenly gasps, stopping the magic beast from eating a poisoned mana stone. He was so worried that he just took the monster away from it, forgetting that he was trying to hide. Since he has already revealed himself, Yoojin looks closer at the little guy. The magic beast was unbelievably soft and adorable in his hands, but then it started crying and flapping its wings. Seeing that it is harmless, Yoojin tries to calm the magic beast. He explains that the mana stone was poisoned and would get sick if he ate that stone. Yoojin is about to feed the infant magic beast some mana stones, but they are suddenly attacked by a dungeon monster. You can't rest inside a dungeon. Yoojin easily evades and uses his tentacle to defeat the enemy. He reassures the little magic beast in his hands and looks back at numerous monster eyes looking at them. This gives Yoojin an idea, and he tells the little chick not to cry anymore since he'll be feeding him. After some while, the gate appears inside the dungeon. Only then did Yoojin realize that he had already taken out the dungeon boss, a vast, tortoise-like monster. In the novel, they called it the moss turtle. Yoojin focused on defeating the enemies, whatever they may be, because the little chick is so hungry that it ate whatever mana stone was dropped. The dungeon boss dropped a huge mana stone, albeit not as bright or big as what Myung-woo used for Yerim's weapon. The little chick looks at it hungrily that he jumps to the stone and starts licking it. The stone is twice the chick's size, and Yoojin warns that it won't fit its belly. Well, he's a magic beast. You never know. Yoojin separates the little chick from the mana stone. The system announces that he unlocked an achievement for solo clearing an F-grade dungeon with only his F-rank stats, attack skills, and less than 3 items. On top of his L-rank Perfect Caregiver and Dragon Slayer titles, he now has the Miracle Rookie title. Hidden achievement unlocked. The little chick jumps off Yoojin to the mana stone, while Yoojin is busy checking the new title he got. Yoojin gasps when he realizes the new title is an S-rank with the effects of item double loot. He is so amazed that you can get an S-rank title by clearing an F-rank dungeon, but at the same time, he is dismayed that the loots from an F-rank dungeon are just worthless. He also laments how Inky's skills are disappearing soon. Yoojin was so busy in his thoughts that he didn't realize that the little one was trying to eat the huge mana stone, and the little guy somehow managed to eat it, making his stomach bulge. Monsters have unique stomachs. Yoojin ponders if solo clearing higher-ranked dungeons would also give out titles. While he still has Inky's skills, he might be able to clear up to D-ranked dungeons independently. Our MC is a bit forgetful. He doesn't remember lecturing Yerim about mana use. Yoojin makes up his mind and plans to clear as many dungeons as possible to get some good items while he still can. He really should just leave the solo leveling stuff to Jinwoo. The little chick has recovered a bit from his eating, and Yoojin takes the magic beast in one hand as it burps. Only then did Yoojin realize that the big mana stone he held before was gone. The little guy simply chirps, and Yoojin wonders if it is a pig instead of a bird. It's a gluttonous bird for sure. After clearing the dungeon, Yoojin heads home with the white fuzzball. But instead of getting time to relax, he worried that the new guy would end up in Peace's stomach. Peace immediately attacked the chick upon sight, so Yoojin had no choice but to leave the room with the chick. Yoojin sits by his door with the closed door thumping loudly because of Peace. Knowing that Yoojin can't leave the two alone, he wonders if he can train Peace once he calms down. But even with this, he worries that the little guy might still get eaten when he goes out and leaves the two. It will be a whole Sylvester Tweety thing if Yoojin does. Yoojin imagines that Peace is using all his muscles to open the door. He is so deep in his thoughts that he doesn't realize someone is approaching him. The system announces that Weakling's hunch is activated and that an S-ranker is coming.